Because you're gonna want to watch the recording over and over and over again and be like, how did he do that? I'm just kidding. Yeah, my name's Shane. I'm super excited to be with y'all. I'm going to be struggling with this microphone the entire time. So I encourage you all to just commiserate in my own struggle as we try to. I'm very animated and like to move around. I'm going to try to stay put, but it's a struggle for me. Yeah, super excited to be here. Before I tell you a little bit about, a lot of times people say, how do you get into magic, or what is that path? Because we might have seen magic. Before you do, raise your hand if you've ever seen a real life magic, like not on the television. Has anyone seen? Oh, okay, pretty cool, awesome. I'm guaranteed to be better than all of those people you saw. Just so you guys know, just to set the bar. I'm just kidding. Before we get into too further, Carrie, do me a favor. Ask me what's in the bag. Yeah, you care. Yeah, I got your name tag there. Oh yeah, I can't tell you it's a secret. Sorry, I thought I already mentioned that to Craig. That's all right. No, so I'll tell you a little bit of how I got into magic. I moved when I was young. I moved to a big city school. Grew up in a very small town, so I knew no one, and it was like 10th grade. So if anyone's, that's a horrible time to move. You imagine meeting all new friends and stuff like that. It's a horrible time, and so I was already pretty social and had no problem talking to people. But I was at a random festival in Oswego, New York, and I saw this magician performing on the street, right? Street performer. And he's doing this show. And I just watched that show. And the magic was great. But what I think I was really, really blown away was the way people were just going from point A to point B. They had no plan to go see a magician that day. And then they took the time to stop what they were doing and be a part of this shared experience that this gentleman found it. His name is Ted. That Ted was creating there, and I just stayed there all day. I've soon learned from Ted that he was doing what's called this. It's like a short show, like a little 20-minute shows over and over and over. So I stood there and just watched the same show over and over and over, and I was just amazed by the experience and how people, whatever they had going on, seemed to leave that behind while they watched all of the Ted's shenanigans. And so, I started that really kind of got me into it and said, well, I want to start learning. If you haven't heard the expression, magicians don't share their secrets, right? So it can be kind of hard. That's not true, by the way. Magicians do. If you pay them enough, they will share you all of their secrets. So that's not, I'll share a couple with you today. You're going to ask me how the tricks are done, and don't worry, I'll make sure to explain them to you. And so I then came to find, I had this kind of now this spark in me, this like, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. I want to create what this guy Ted created. And then found out that little small town that I grew up in is actually Ted's small town that he grew up in. And he was actually the father of one of my buddies. And then found out that Ted wasn't just some random guy in the street, but Ted Brainerd was Cosmo, one of the world's top street performers, which you still probably wouldn't know his name because he's not on television or nothing. But, and I would go over to his house. I'd bike to his house like 10 miles. And I wouldn't even, this was before I was like texting him and saying if he was home or nothing like that. I would just show up, this like kid. And at this point, people would pay this guy like, $1,000 to listen to him talk for an hour or something. Like he'd pack out lecture halls and stuff like that. And I'm just knocking on his door like, hey, want to hang out? And he would. I would show him what I'm working on, and he'd tell me how horrible I was doing. And, and I would bike, 10 miles home, and I'd be like, you know what, he it wasn't that bad. And then, months later, I'd realize, oh, he was right. He was right. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. And then, now that I've been performing for this time, I like I said, it's my favorite thing. And so I'm gonna show you a little bit, and then we'll get into some other stuff. Let's see. I always like to pick out some people. What's your name in the back? Yeah, you. Yeah, you. Yeah. Karen, do me a favor. Ask me what's in the bag. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked. No one's paid any attention to this bag the entire time. Let's give Karen a round of applause and coming up to volunteer. She's volunteering and now coming up, yep, in front of everyone. Yep. You didn't know that was gonna happen. All right, so Karen, I'm going to show you the warm-up trick. This is actually a trick I learned from my mother. This is a true story too. Sometimes magicians say things and they're just simply not true. So that's your first step in magic. We just say things that just aren't true at all. Sometimes they are. This one's true. All right, do me a favor. I'm gonna Yeah, take those off. And I want you to hold out your hands just like this. Perfect. All right, this is a warm-up trick, and then we'll show you some good stuff. All right, ready? Pretty warm, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. And you thought I was gonna suck. Don't go. No, don't go. I'm just kidding. You laugh, but when my mom taught me that trick, I was actually in kindergarten, and we had to walk a mile to where the bus would pick us up. That didn't pick us up. We lived in like the back of some old abandoned campground or something like that. My mom's great. And I remember her teaching me this. And now we're just like, oh yeah, that's friction, Shane. But as a kid, whoa, to be able to create heat like that, and it blew my mind. And I was like, my mom's magic. Whoa. And just to be able to, and later we learn that's physics, right? So once you understand how it's done, it's maybe not as magical. But as a child, you're like, whoa, I didn't even know that was possible. I can just create heat with these hands. So don't now you have a trick you can go home and show your friends. Yeah. Now I'll show you an actual trick here too. Don't worry. All right. What we're gonna do, Kara, Shane. So Kara, we're gonna all give you the count of 3, or trace in Spanish. And on the count of 3, you're gonna reach your hand into the bag and pull out whatever's inside. You got that? Are you afraid of spiders? A little bit. What about barking spiders? Oh, okay, perfect. Okay. All right, we're gonna give her the count of 3. No need to be scared. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, she really is fearless. What do we have? Dental floss. There's nothing else in the bag? You can check. It's okay. It won't bite. Nothing else in the bag?
Nope.
This is where I'm veering away from the microphone. Sorry, folks. Anything else in the bag? Perfect. Okay, Kara, hold out your right hand. Extend one finger. Good choice. Thank you. We are in a place of worship. I appreciate that. You could have given me your finger. I appreciate that. The world's greatest dental floss trick. So I'm going to explain to you how this is all done. But normally I would just continue, but I'm going to give you a quick little debrief. I want you to pay attention to what's happening here, because what's actually going to happen is your brain is going to remember false ordered events. You're going to say, I know and I saw exactly what happened. And I'll prove to you that every single one of your brains remembered what actually happened wrong. And this is going to be great because normally I don't even tell people that. I just let it happen. But it's going to be great to see it right before your eyes, knowing it's going to happen. It's the world's greatest dental floss trick. But first, we need our magic wand. I know what you're thinking. It's just a marker. It's actually a magic marker. It's true, Kara. I'll prove it to you. You can pull off the cap and give the cap a blow. And just like that, the cap disappears. But it doesn't disappear for good. It just goes over there to the other side. But now, see, that's making it disappear invisibly, which frankly isn't fair for y'all because you can't see it. That's what invisible means. Now you'll be able to visibly disappear with a 1, a 2, and a 3, and the cap is gone. But now, of course, behind my knee. That's why they call it a kneecap. It's true. I'll move this over here. See a little better. All right, now this time I'll slow it down for you. That way, the Zoom folks, you'll be able to see it slowly disappear with a 1, a 2, and a 3, and a squeeze. Oh, wait, this time the marker disappeared, isn't it? This wasn't a permanent marker. I'm just kidding. It's right there behind my ear. That's stupid. All right, blow on the cap. This time with a little less spit. Perfect. Now it's a magic cap. The funny thing about magic caps is they actually travel at a very high velocity. This is true. Okay, I'm not going to throw the cap directly at you. Don't worry, I'm a professional. I want you to extend out your right arm. Yep, rotate your body about 13.5 degrees counterclockwise. Just face me. We left our protractors at home, that's fine. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cap and I'm going to throw it up in the air. It's going to come storming out again. We'll catch it in the bag. Are you ready? Okay, wow, that's so good. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and it goes and it goes. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Ding. How'd you do?
Wow.
Drum roll, please. Go ahead. We all check the bag. Well done. So that's the magic wand, right? Very interesting. But the dental floss, the world's greatest dental floss trick. This is cinnamon flavored, so it's red, in case you're wondering why it's red. Pretty good. All right. So, Kara, let me ask you a question. Am I ripping off these pieces?
Yes, you are.
All right, perfect. You sure?
I am pretty sure.
Great. Someone's getting ripped off. I'm just kidding. you have your wallet? You have your wallet still?
No.
No? Wow. All right, let me ask you, do the pieces get ripped off? They get ripped off? Yeah, they get ripped off? Yeah. You're a regular volunteer at Warren. Yeah. How the pieces get ripped off? What about you? Remind how many pieces are ripped off? No, I better rip off a few more than perfect. All right, so we have, I don't know how many, good amount here. So we can take them and we can roll them up into a nice tight little ball. It's nice. So for those that haven't seen what a tight little ball of dental floss looks like, this is it. Very exciting, you know. And you can take all those little pieces and you can stick them. And now go ahead and hold on to them. Don't drop any. Perfect. Where'd the magic wand go? Where'd the marker go? Oh, there it is. Perfect. All right. Now hold on to just one end of that piece. I want you to hold them up nice and tall. So now this is the point where our memory fails us. Right? This is going to happen. It's very exciting. What's your name? Genoa? Genoa? Genoa. Oh, cool. That's a cool name. Genoa, I want you to take the magic wand and stand up. Do you know any magic words? No, that's a new one. I've never heard of that one. Let's try it out. I want you to point the magic wand at all the little pieces. I want you to say, no, no, no. Did you feel magic happen? Wow. That's amazing. Perfect. But if you watch, you can see, it's just the fun part. So this is where our memory fails us. You know, what did I do with the floss? Gave it to you. Well, first you took it out of the bag.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And then what do we do?
Drop a bunch of little pieces.
Well, now I did a little bit more of the tray. And then what did I do?
After that, you.
Ripped a bunch of pieces. Does that sound right to y'all? He says no. That didn't happen. You might be the right magician because did I rip off all these little pieces? Did I rip off a bunch of little pieces? If you watch, so when memory gets us. You haven't dropped any?
No. Oh.
So we find that actually all of those pieces together. That's one. I'll leave that with you as a souvenir. All right. All right. You're right, young one in the blue. So, how did that happen? Yeah. Some thoughts, some ideas. All right. So, one of the things, right, that we try to figure out in our brain, right, is why do our eyes and our minds see what isn't there, right? Or miss some of the things that are right in front of us, or remember things that didn't happen, right? And so this is a little bit of how our brain creates our cognitive experience, right? Our reality, or what we think as our reality. And so it's a combination of what we see, what we pay attention to, and what we remember. And so all of those things are susceptible to illusion, misdirection, deception, right? And that's the magicians playing with those things. And so that seeing is believing part is maybe not always so true. And there's definitely a difference between our physical world, or the things that like exist in nature, and then our psychological world, right? And that's our subjective experience. And so the magician tries to play on that. And it's not just misdirection. Sometimes it is, right? I'll say, look over there, distraction. And we often look. And then something happens over here. A good example of that, George Bush. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's a Unitarian thing. I think I can make that joke. I'm just playing. Right? And so as a magician, we're controlling things like the processing speed of the mind, our working memory, and the distributed attention, right? We're giving interference, distractions, giving the brain multitasking, and all that kind of confuses the brain. And we're also, you know, that's kind of every time that mind switches a task, it becomes harder to focus. And that's opportunities that magicians use. And I think that's a little bit of how it's done. But I think the really interesting thing is the imagination of the magician, because you have certain tools at play, like some of those things I described. And you're using those to create something that doesn't actually exist. And that's a really interesting thing to do to the brain, because the brain loves processing and normalizing real things and justifying things. You might have heard that your brain fills in some of the gaps. Your eyes don't fully see everything, and the brain will kind of fill in those spots. And I think that, as a magician, creating those magic tricks and it kind of strengthens that part of your imagination and maybe challenges a little bit of what you think to be possible. And so there's a few magic principles I'll read off to you before I show you all one more trick that will help solidify some of these things. There's just a few random principles just to get your brains kind of thinking a little bit outside the box. The first is the one ahead principle, right? Magic principle number 8. It's a great one. And that's always staying a step ahead in anything that you're doing. And so if the joke is happening here, I might be saying something here. A lot of times things are already done, right? And we're here in this experience, but the magician's usually 1 or 5 steps ahead. The next one, magic principle 25, is kind of fun. Don't run when you're not being chased. This is a really good one to take to heart sometimes. A lot of times magicians are like, there is nothing in my hands, right? And really explicit. And sometimes it's more just to be more natural and not try to run when not being chased. Number 19, I love, it's called the magician's choice, right? And so this is the fact that people are satisfied with making a decision and people want to make a decision. But the magician is kind of in control of either one of those outcomes. So a great example of magician's choice is, asking your kids, do you want to eat this food, red peppers or green peppers, right? The magician's in control that your child is eating peppers, but the child, this is spoiling parenting for y'all kids. Sorry. Parents are like, Shane, shut up and don't tell them our secrets. But it's, giving a choice or an option and being in control of both of those outcomes. I won't bring any of our two-party political system into this. I'll keep all those jokes out of this establishment. Don't worry. Next one is out of sight, out of mind. The brain has a really hard time conceptualizing things that aren't in sight or in play, right? And so if we change our focus on something, it's very easy to lose focus on another thing. I love this next one. A larger action covers a small action, right? So something big will cover something small. And that is, I used that about 3 times with this little marker routine. No spoilers there, but just saying. And then the last 2, magic principle number 4 and 16, I really like, and I think there's more to maybe take away from these things. The best way to make someone do something is to have them want to do it, right? We do what we want to do. So if you're going to try to get someone to do something, you have to get them to want to do it. And then they most likely will do it because we do what we want. And the last one, I really, really like, magic principle number 16, one of my favorites. If you want someone to believe something, you have to believe it first, right? So if I truly believe that there's a cap in my hand, out of doubt, there's a cap in my hand. I totally believe it. With any question you can see, my hands are, my knuckles are slightly bulging. I feel like there's a little bit of weight. There's something in there, right? That cap is 100% in there. Really, it is. Yeah, we're like, oh my gosh, it's not really there. He's making it look like it's there, right? That's the trick. So I think a lot of magic, for me, it really helps with ideation. And by watching magic or performing it, I think is like the fast track to it. But even watching magic, I encourage you all to go on YouTube, find magic shows, go see it. Because what it does to your brain is it challenges what you limit as possible, right? You just saw something that was completely impossible. And so the brain has to kind of rationalize that and maybe expand a little bit and say, well, maybe I need to open up my ideas of what's possible. Yeah, sure, certainly there's tricks, but still, we saw it happen, right? And I often think I took anyone know Clifton Strength Finders? It's like a strength that you can basically pay this company to have you do a test and they tell you what your top strengths are, right? And I did that with my old job, and my top strength was ideation. right? To be able to come up with innovative ideas. And it's funny, my boss at the time, he's this type of person you can pay extra to get your weaknesses, and that was his biggest weakness. And so a lot of times we would have problems, or we would get put in some scenario that was deemed maybe impossible, or something that it's just, this isn't going to happen, or it's just a problem we're going to have to deal with. And he would give it to me, and I would always be coming up with weird, wild solutions or workarounds. And I do think a lot of that is by doing magic and seeing magic so many times, where I'm like, oh yeah, we can really work and make something out of this. Because magicians kind of work two ways in creating tricks. You either start with the tools that you have. I can do this little sleight of hand or this type of little tricks, and then I say, what can I do with them? Right? What kind of things can I create? Or there's this other way that I really like. It's more like reverse engineering. I think of something that is just totally not possible, and then I kind of work backwards to say, well, how could I do that? Right? What different things could I do for that? And the other thing I think you really gain from magic is the connection, learning to connect with people. And the main reason is because the entire time I'm performing, I am sitting in your chair, your chair, your chair, your chair. I'm not just seeing what you're seeing, right? But I'm thinking about what you're thinking, and thinking about your perspective and how you're perceiving things. And to practice doing that on a regular basis is a really good skill to be able to connect with people, because the best way to connect with someone is meeting them where they're at. And by really opening up your mind and trying to say, like, what is this person perceiving? What are the things that they believe? Yeah, I think you can kind of fast track that connection point. And I also have a bad habit of, like, I see these, imagine like a little like field of vision, these little like arrows that go off from people's visions, where I can like see everyone's line of sight, and I can like kind of see where I could get away with something in the room, which is kind of interesting. But it's less sometimes of that, and you're going to see it happen, and I'll let you know after the fact when it happens in this next trick. It's not just the line of sight, but it's the line of focus, right? So it's understanding where people are focusing their attention. And the magician will maybe play with that a little bit. But I think in a general life, it's just interesting to think about, yeah, what are these people focused on? Whether it's something physical in the room, something mental. But I think the magician, that's a skill that you hone over and over and over again. So I got one more trick to show you. Right, we still got time. Yeah. Don't worry, you don't have to ask what's in the bag. I'll tell you. So this is actually the oldest magic trick in the world. This is true. This is the oldest recorded magic trick in all the world. It's done very differently around the world. Different countries do it in different styles. And it is the cups trick. He says yes, right? Yes. Right? The cups and the balls. Raise your hand if you know the cups and the balls trick. Okay. So you have all your hands up. So who's actually seen it performed? You might know of the cups, right? Less hands. And I always find this fascinating, right? Because this kind of idea of the cups and balls, it's like so ingrained in us as magic that sometimes people just know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, I know you've never seen it done. And I always find that fascinating. I think some things are so old or have done so long that they're just somehow ingrained in our memory. I always find that interesting. So this is the 2-cup trick. Perfect. Oh yeah, you already. Sweet. So I need someone to check out cup number 1. Cup number 1. Check it out. Make sure there's no hidden switches, buttons, trapdoors. Want to check cup number 2? Perfect. How does it look? Pretty official? Yeah, I know. All right, perfect. Cup looks good.
Yeah,
Pretty solid?
It's clean.
Yeah, it is pretty old. How's cup number 2? Perfect. Let me just tell you that one up for you. All right. Like I said, this is the oldest magic trick in the world. Most of the original performers are dead. All right, so pretty solid cups, right? Then tell me how cup number 1 can just pass through cup number 2, and cup number 2 can pass through cup number 1. Don't worry. Because the trick isn't just done with cups, it's also done with 2 little balls. Just like that. Perfect. You want to check them out? Make sure they're legit. So, you take ball number 1. You take it in your hand. Over here, so you can see. Just the tap, tap, and tap can disappear. I know, pretty good. But ball number two, you have to make disappear a little differently. You just take it and blow on, and it's gone. But, you get it in my mouth? It's gone. Don't worry, I'll get it back tomorrow. I'm just kidding. It's gone under the cups. This is where it gets fun. So I'll show it to you again. See, if you just take the ball, tap the cup, top the cup, ball travels right through. It's very cool. But if you tap it twice, you can actually get the second ball to join the first. I'll explain to you how this is done. There's actually a hole in the cup. You missed that one, didn't you, Mandy? Now it's about 2 inches round and 2.5 inches deep, and if it wasn't there, it'd be a plate. I'm just kidding. There's no hole in the cup. Moving swiftly on. Now you look a little confused. I'll make it easier for you. We'll get rid of the first ball. Actually, we can get rid of the second ball too, because I keep a spare ball right there in the cap of the marker. That's the spare ball. Now to get the second ball back, you're going to help me with this one, all right? All you have to do is just place your flow, and the ball comes right back on top of the cup. Just like that. You're gonna watch back that recording and go, really? You did that? All right, I'll show it to you again so you don't have to watch back the recording. We take the first ball, put it away in the pocket, have the second one join the first. And this time you give it a tap, and the ball comes right back underneath. Every time you take a ball, put it away in your pocket, and you give it a little tap, and the ball comes right back underneath. I'll explain to you how this is done. Like I said, I'm going to explain to you how it's done, right? It's you think I take the ball and put it in my hand, but I actually keep it over here. Right? So you think, and if I believe I take that ball and put it away in my pocket, keep it over here the whole time. So if I really take it and think I put it in, tap it underneath, where do you think it is? Matt, do you think cup or pocket? Oh, it's in my left hand. Which one? Cup or pocket? Which one? I'll give you a prize. Cup. It is under the cup, but that's the spare ball that I use. It's a little bigger than the first. And if you missed that first one there, Matt, you probably missed the second one over there, didn't you? And if those two got you, then the third one's really. Oh. Now I know what you're thinking. How did I get the lemon under the cup? Right? You're like, how did you get the lemon under the cup? Right? What? You wondering how I got the lemon under the cup? It's a lot. What? Oh no, I'm talking about that lemon over there. Come on, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I'll leave you with just a couple more words. I hope you like that too. So what I encourage you guys is to challenge what you think is real, challenge what you think is impossible, right? And start maybe thinking about ways to create that impossible. And it is an amazing skill to develop. And I think the other thing I wanted to, I'm just going to leave you with one last closing excerpt, and it's maybe not what you would typically expect me to read, but it's actually a scene from the book 1984. When this really stuck with me, this one area. Have you people read that book? Okay, so this is room 101, Winston's with O'Brien, and he's really like tripping him out, right? And I always thought this was something that really stood out to me. And this is Winston saying, anything could be true. The so-called laws of nature were nonsense. The law of gravity was nonsense. If I wished, O'Brien had said, I could float off this floor like a soap bubble. Winston worked it out. If he thinks he floats off the floor, and I simultaneously think I see him do it too, then the thing happens. Suddenly, like a lump of submerged wreckage breaking the surface of water, the thought burst into his mind, it doesn't really happen. We imagine it. It's a hallucination. He pushed the thought under instantly. The fallacy was obvious. It presupposed that somewhere or other, outside of oneself, there was a real world where real things happened. But how could there be such a world? What knowledge have we of anything save through our own minds? All happenings are in the mind. Whatever happens in all minds truly happens.